Well, I got myself a upgrade for the 6.7. This is a S&B cold air intake. You can see all the parts here. Got all the small stuff in here. Even got one of these hoses. I'm not sure what everything's going to be used for, but looks like we got some directions. And the one that I went with was the dry filter setup, which it comes in. Wanted to show this bubble wrap that protects the filter for shipping. Overall, everything was great for shipping. So this is the dry filter. It does not need any maintenance besides, of course, it's reusable. You can clean it from time to time, but it does not need oil. Now, if you get the oiled one, they will put the oil on for you the first time, and then in the future, you'll have to do it yourself when you clean it. And this one actually has a little better filtration than the oil one, although it's kind of like splitting hairs. But the airflow is a little bit less with this one versus the oiled one. I decided to go with this because I have a dry filter on my 03. I've actually tried both oiled and dry, and I like my dry filter a lot, so I ended up going with that one this time. So I'm just going to have to put this together. So this is where this whole box will store the filter in. There'll be a cover here, and it looks like there's another plate that kind of will fit on there and get bolted in to these holes here. I can kind of see that already. And then you've got this, which goes down to the turbo like that, and you've got your CCV hose will attach there, and then you'll have probably two sensors up top that will need to be, bolted in place there. And then you've got your coupler. You've got this will probably go up here on the box somewhere along this circular area. So I'm sure the directions will be pretty clear and we'll be able to explain exactly what we're doing here. So I'm going to see what I can do here at home, try to put some of this together, and then I'll pick back up with the video when I'm getting ready to put it in the truck. Alright, as an update for how far I was able to get while at home. Over here on the tube, I've got the intake coupler, which attaches to the turbo here, and I've got these loosely on the coupler here. They're not tightened down all the way yet. Same with the new breather tube. This one is tightened. This one is still loose and will be tightened once we actually get it installed. We will still need to install our sensors up here. This cover, protective covering, has been removed from it, and this gasket around the outside has been installed. So this will fit on top of here. And then for this piece, I've installed this rubber thing here, and I've just set my filter here. I think it may be easier to install if you just put this inside and then slide through your tube and then slide this up on. Now I know you won't be able to do that if you ever replace your filter. You have to install from up top, but this may be the easiest way because there's very little space for this. This only fits one way. You have to kind of put it in diagonally, so it's a tight space for this size of filter in this box, but we'll make it work. And yeah, so for the most part we got over half the steps done without even having to go outside. Alright, here we are with our old system off. It was relatively straightforward. It's just this bolt right here that holds it on, but there's a couple tabs on the bottom, and they fit in these two little things. And they're, you just gotta pull straight up and it'll come. And there's our turbo. It's got some oil in it and stuff from the CCV. This is your CCV pipe right here. So where you're going to connect that new tube up to. These are your sensors. I literally just pulled this off right before I started filming here. This is a good time to check for shaft play, make sure nothing's wrong with the turbo. I already did this a few months back, so I'm pretty sure it's okay, but I'll check it again. You can see the silencer ring is covered here in oil, but this would be the time to remove the silencer ring if you wanted to do that. Anyways, let me continue making progress And before I do that, I will show you what's up with this intake here. So let's see. So this intake, it's got, well, that filter looks pretty old. Looks like it needs cleaned. Won't matter now. Let me show you inside. Now, firstly, this is jerry-rigged. This is supposed to clamp together without that screw having been driven in it. So that's one reason why I am replacing this thing. But we'll show you the filter that's inside here. That's the other reason. Here's this filter. It's probably better airflow than stock, and it is reusable. But I'm not a big fan of this style because, firstly, you have to rely on a good seal around the outside. And this just doesn't seal as well as the kind I'm putting on. So I'm worried about things getting past. We look in here. Well, doesn't look too bad there. Not really seeing debris, but there may be some fine stuff escaping through there. That was one of my big concerns. So that's why, one of the reasons why I'm going with the aftermarket intake. The other reason is, if we get any extra performance, that'd be great. Something like 5 horsepower, 18 pound-feet of torque is a number I've heard. So that'd be great, but that's not the main reason. I may not even notice that. And further, there is maybe a little fuel economy. I doubt it, but it'd be nice to see 1/10 of an mpg or so. Couldn't hurt. And then hopefully I'll hear a little more turbo, so I will do some driving later. Let's get this thing put in there first. Also, I disconnected negative battery terminals. I really should have remembered. I got battery cleaner, terminal cleaner, and I've got those anti-corrosion things that I could have put on here while I was in here. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that another day. Okay, here we are. Everything's installed. Uses the same nut here. Everything hooked up down there. So sensors are plugged in. They come with little gaskets that go on here. So it's a little different than stock, but plugged in. Let's get this truck on the road and do some first impressions. I'm going to be thinking about performance, and I'm also going to be thinking about sound. See if I can hear the turbo more. Here we are, engine running. I think with this thing on there, you can't really hear any difference. Okay, so first impressions, I'm a couple miles in here. The road's a bit loud, maybe hard to hear the turbo, but here goes the exhaust brake. Similar loudness there, not anything incredibly louder than before. Now the exhaust brake was always the loudest. I hear the exhaust brake much more than I do the turbo itself under normal acceleration before. Now I'm going to give it some boost here as soon as we get a solid straightaway. Drop down to 45. Okay, here we go. Definitely a difference. You can hear the turbo noticeably more. It's not like my 5.9, but my 5.9's got a straight pipe exhaust. So you hear some through that as well. But this was an improvement as far as being able to hear the turbo more. And I did not do anything about the silencer ring. I left it in place. Performance-wise, I'm not really noticing a difference, but I'm sure it's better. I'm sure I'm getting cooler air. My intake air temp right now is at 84 degrees. Ambient temp is 69. Wonderful day. A cold front came over. And so I'm thinking intake temps are a little bit lower. we're going to have more airflow, I know that. And we probably have a little bit of a faster spool up. But for the most part, it's just a small gain. Overall, I'm pretty happy. Seems to be working pretty well. So with that said, that's going to do it for me in this one. I'll see y'all in the next video.